All right, I think I'm doing this live. Wow, I can actually hear myself so loud and so clear. It's actually too loud for me. That's unusual. I'm not used to playing things so loud, so I'm going to turn this down a little bit for my ears because they're like blasting the speakers. So anyway, I decided to do a podcast, or try to do one. I don't know how long it's going to be because I guess at it and I'm always wrong. So it'll either be too long or too short. Couple things. You know, it's funny. I heard on the radio today that one of those caravans that were, I guess, months or a couple weeks away actually arrived in the U.S. You know, the caravans going up through Mexico. So I was kind of surprised by that. These were like recaps of shows. I did a wider angle of the camera. I'm trying something different. And this time I actually left all the lights on in the room because I was trying that whole thing of kind of doing what like Stern does and keeping a little bit less lit in the room. And that didn't seem to work. So now I'm trying a different tactic, and I'm going to try to have it a little bit more lit. So, and see how that works out. I actually don't have the camera I want because last time I had Stephanie Grace in one of in my frame. This time I do not. So I got more of the room, but actually, and I want it a little bit higher than I actually have it. I am holding on to, I've had this for a while. It's like, he's really dusty now. It is Trump, President Trump now. But at this time when I bought this, I thought it was hilarious. It was like $10 back in the day. It was a year or so ago, I think I bought this. Maybe, no, I think it's over 2 years now. But it was when he was doing that show, The Apprentice. This is Donald Trump as the apprentice. So it's his like, he has a little walkie thing on there. Let's see if I can get it to work. See, it may not actually. It's somewhere on the chest or somewhere else. I haven't used this in such a long time. The batteries actually do work. Yeah, I can't find it. But he says different sayings like, "You're fired," and other things, because that was what he was known for on The Apprentice. So it's not important. But yeah, that's what that was. I wanted to put something else in the frame. Sound like I'm out of breath, like I just went for a run. If you notice, though, his hair on this Trump doll, maybe you can't see it, but it's brown. I never remember Trump having brown hair. When did that happen? Or when was that? Because this is past tense with this as Todd would put it, this doll. So I got a lot of stuff from the past week from two friends, and you know what? I kind of dug up the main stuff from the one friend, and I just figured I'll just forget about the other one. I can't believe that Thanksgiving is just right around the corner. I stopped by Buffalo Wild Wings. And here's what's left. It's the paper things they give you. I had takeout because it was crowded, so crowded that people were parking in the 15-minute parking lot spots because there was nowhere else for them to park, and it kind of pissed me off because I went in there, and then I was like, okay, I'm just going to take it out. I'm going to take it home. I'm not going to stay here. Very nice girls. There was one waitress I haven't seen in a while, and she actually was saying, "Hey, where have you been? I haven't seen you in such a long time." It's like, well, honestly, it's just been a mess. Because like the past 8 months, 7 months, I've not been working at my normal job, and I've been doing other things. So, yeah, my whole schedule was off, and I looked for a temp job for now until I, figure out what's going on with my present job. Or not my present job. My present job is actually it's a great place to work, I guess. The pay is much better than most places. But I'll tell you, you take it for granted. I had taken it for granted, actually, where the job I used to work was not as hard as what I'm doing now. Because the job I do now, you're on your feet for 8 hours. You work 12, you're on your feet for 12 hours. And, it's not a law, but you don't get like 10-minute breaks or 15-minute breaks. You get 1/2 hour and that's it. But they're not breaking any laws, because at first I was really angry. I'm used to working at a different place where you got, 15-minute breaks every 2 hours, and you got like an hour lunch. And here it's like, well, we don't have to do that. So it was like, wow. It was definitely a rude wake-up call, it was an unpleasant wake-up call to what reality really consists of. In fact, just right like yesterday, I think it was, I'm like falling behind on my bills because the place I work now, there's sometimes they don't have enough work for people that are temps. That work has to go to the people that are full-time workers. They call full-time workers basically people who work at the job and are not temps. They're called full-time workers. I'm a full-time person, but I'm a temp. And I don't really want to get hired out because this place I work, it's great, but if they don't get done, it's like a factory. It really is a factory job. But yeah, if they don't have enough work for the regular employees, they're just going to send the temps home. And that happened a couple times already. Apparently, it happens quite often. But if you work there, they got great benefits. It's a good place. Actually, it's right down the street from where I live, so I like all that stuff. But it could happen, though, if you're a full-time worker, it's a lot more stringent, and it's hard enough for me now just to handle the job I have. To make things work worse, if they don't get all the work done by the weekend, because, hey, we kind of misjudged on, or things got held up. That's another reason. If things get held up, they can't get things working on in this kind of factory setting. Like, they have to do a lot of paperwork, a lot of it. I mean, I'm not even exaggerating. It could get held up for a whole day. And if that happens, then you got to, the next day you come into work, it's going to be a lot harder. It's going to be twice as much work for the same amount of pay and less hours being paid for it. So if the work doesn't get done, what they do is, hey, you know what? You're you full-time people, guess what? You're coming in this weekend on overtime, and you have no choice. You have to come in. So, again, that's another thing that I wanted to say, that, you take this stuff for granted. Like, you worked at a job that pretty much gave you everything except a pacifier, but maybe they should have done that too, because they really do baby you. And when you get a real job that does not baby you, does not hold you by the hand, then you're not prepared for it. I mean, this was something that was like me going from being a civilian, being thrown into a boot camp. That's what it feels like. So, but that's the real world. That's something I wasn't used to. Not why I wanted to do a show. And by the way, it was funny tonight. I asked a couple people. I saw it online. I wanted to not really see it, but I did kind of want to see this one movie. It came out like 2 weekends ago or a weekend ago. By J.J. Abrams. It's called Overlord. And it was like, okay, this kind of looks like a ripoff of a video game called Castle Wolfenstein. Now, Castle Wolfenstein, I think, came out in like early 80s, maybe late 70s, something like that. It came out like it was the first computer game that was called 3D. So it had to be around like 82, maybe earlier, like I said. But there was this game called Castle Wolfenstein. It was the first 3D game that actually was only two-dimensional, but it was called a 3D game. And then years later, it was made by a company called id Software. So over the years, id Software made other games that were, basically made by this company called id. John Carmack was the founder of this company, if I remember correctly. And he made other games called Quake and Doom, and made him a crap ton of money. I mean, he's probably like, I would say, in my opinion, probably like the third richest person in the world. Maybe a little bit lower than that, but the guy's got a lot of money. I mean, he's not as rich as Bill Gates, but he's up there. Let me put it that way. So, yeah. So, anyway, they some other company had actually, Carmack was not doing the development anymore on the games. And basically what he does, John Carmack, what he did, where he got his fame from, is he'll make these, quote-unquote, these engines for these games, these game engines. And they're made for games like, again, Doom, Quake, Wolfenstein. And the engines alone, I don't know what it means, but the engine, it's basically, obviously, underneath the game itself. You have this thing that actually runs the game. Well, those engines, quote unquote, again, I don't know what exactly it means by that. Her sell those off, and they make tons of other video games that have nothing to do with the game that was put on top of these engines. And again, they make tons of money off of these. They sell the rights off to the engines. There was a game years ago called Unreal, which they haven't made any of those games in years. The original game was called Unreal, then it was called Unreal Tournament. They made them for the consoles. And that game engine had, and I think up until this day, and that game hasn't been made in years, but the engine still is on the game. Literally underneath the hood of the game, the engine still is made to develop other games. I think what it is I'm going to take an educated guess, is the engine is your foundation, like your baseline for any game, and then you can just change what the scenery looks like, what the characters look like on top. You're basically putting different skins and scenery on top. But to develop a really good engine, again, for these games seems to be very costly and time-consuming and stuff, so a lot of people don't want to be bothered to start with scratch. They want something that they can just purchase, I assume, and they can put whatever on top of that, somebody else's development on this program on top of it, and it saves them a hell of a lot of time. So again, you're see to this day games that actually say they have an Unreal engine underneath, meaning it was the engine made for the game called Unreal. And the same thing with CarMax games like Doom and everything like that. I know I went a little off subject, but that's what my show's about. So anyway, Carmack no longer, I think, has really anything to do with the company that was, well known years ago as id Software. id Software name still exists because it's like, let me put it this way. It's like the new Star Wars, basically. Okay, well, not Spielberg. Well, that's really dumb. Lucas has nothing to do with it. But everything he put into Star Wars is now under somebody else's name, but he still gets credit because it's Lucasfilms. I mean, the movie I saw tonight, that's what I want to mention. It's called Overlord, and I'm going to go back on focus in a moment or two. So Overlord had Lucas Filmworks underneath of it, even though it had nothing to do with Lucas. It's the same thing with id Software. id Software is pretty much a dead company. He basically got other people to develop new programs, basically rechanging what stuff he originally did. It looks much better, too. Sometimes it actually plays much, it's more interesting than what was originally developed. Because games like Doom, Quake, and Wolfenstein look completely different from what Carmack had originally came up with. But he's still making money, I guess revenues, off of the stuff that he's developed, that he had developed. He's basically, it's got the name, not even that any longer. It's some other company. But it's still under the umbrella, and you might see that it was made, it might have a logo on there for id Software. And now here's another good, maybe a kind of a good example. Neither one was. But think of Apple, like Steve Jobs died. But did the name change after Steve Jobs died? No, it's Apple, but really it's not Apple anymore because you don't have Wozniak or you don't have Jobs, because Wozniak left years ago. I think Jobs basically fired him, even though it was Wozniak who made the first Apple computer, even though it wasn't called that. Jobs just saw there was promise in what Wozniak had came up with, because the guy was a genius and basically knew how the market, what Wozniak had already developed. Bottom line is, they made the company called Apple. It was Wozniak and it was Steve Jobs. Jobs is dead. Wozniak has been gone for a long, long time. He's not deceased. He's just no longer part of the company. So again, it's the same thing again, where the name lives on, but it really isn't what it was originally developed. It's not, doesn't have its original people involved. So, trying to get back into focus. I'm going to try. not going to say I'm going to do it very successfully. So anyway, going back, like there was Wolfenstein was revamped a couple times, and probably earlier on after the original game of Wolfenstein, Castle Wolfenstein, they revamped it. Looked very interesting. It was more of an more of an adulterated game. It meaning that it had like literally, I'm not even just saying this. They actually had, I'm not joking. Maybe this is where Rush Limbaugh came up with the idea for that name. I doubt it, but I'm just going to say it because I know I'm totally off on this one. But yeah, they did have feminazis. So like hot-looking Nazi women in this video game of Castle Wolfenstein that were feminazis. I'm not joking. And there was a thing you could get, a map code or whatever. You put it into the game, and it would take the feminazis' clothes off, so they'd be running around completely nude. And basically all it was a map that overlapped their clothes. So it made them look like you could see them completely nude. And it was kind of childish. I understand that, but it was very entertaining at the same time. My one friend, Rich, used to joke about it. He says, yeah, the feminazis, you could kill them easier if they were in a back dark round, because without their clothes on, they were like lit up almost because they had tan, what do you call it? They were Caucasian. They're Germans. So they were pale skin, and it was like perfect if you're trying to kill these feminazis in this game when they didn't have any clothes on. That wasn't the purpose of it, but you could actually see them in the dark, like, because the game is designed to have like an atmosphere, which means keep the atmosphere very dim, very dark, and hard to see what you're shooting at. You could be shooting at the wrong person, which is not good. Meaning anybody who was not a Nazi and who was basically a prisoner. And that had happened quite a few times. So anyway, going back to Overlord, the way the credits were on Overlord, the way the previews looked, it looked like a complete ripoff of the revised edition of, it was called Return to Castle Wolfenstein, which was 20 years ago at this point, that game. The original was 1980, but the remake was like 1980 or so. No, I'm sorry, 2000 probably. I don't know. It was something like that. 1980 for the original game, probably earlier than that, and then they revamped it back in 2000 something. So I had a blast playing those games, no puns intended. They were very fun. I always joke with my friend Rich, and I said, yeah, I have to use help codes. Basically, I'm lying. I use cheat codes because the games get so difficult. And you can do that with some console games, but you can definitely do that with PC games. So, again, I loved Castle Wolfenstein. It was one of the few games, Quake and Doom. Doom was so impossible, even at the easiest level. I actually had to put the cheat codes in like the second minute I started the game. I was like, there's no way I'm getting through this. And it got so ridiculously hard that if it wasn't for the cheat codes, I would have never finished the game. And that's what happens. Because nowadays I play, they're trying to push more people onto consoles. So what ends up happening is there are some games that are so freaking difficult that have no cheat codes. I don't know how to put them in on a console. That I never finish the games. That's why I have so many games I buy in this room of mine that I never even had taken out of the, what do you call it? I've never taken out of the shrink wrap. It's like, because I don't even know if I'm going to even get through phase 1 of the freaking game. And plus, I get really bored pretty quickly on a lot of games. I hate to admit to it, but it's true. I'm looking in the background of my room right now. What you can see, whoops, there goes my monitor. And you can see it on the thing because it shut down my thing, my camera over here. But next time I'm gonna make sure I put a spotlight on that. I got the Friday the Camp Crystal Lake wood inside on my door, the back of my door to my room. And I didn't think about that, but next time I'm gonna have to light that so you can see it. You can barely see it. If you look at the left side of the frame, you would see it there if you watched a YouTube video of this. And I have my cricket bat, and also, which you've never seen before, my calendars, and then it's Harley Quinn's baseball bat from Suicide Squad. Not the same one. That's like a stickers put on top of a regular baseball bat just to make it look like it's the same, and it's not. It's like an authentic, not authentic, what do you call that? An official Harley Quinn baseball bat. That's on the left-hand quarter of the frame from where I'm talking. So, try to add a little atmosphere to when I do these podcasts. Wow, I'm already 20 minutes in. So anyway, Overlord was a movie I looked at and was like, okay, one, it looked like it was trying to be politically correct. Two, J.J. Abrams has just made some pretty bad films lately. I think he stretched himself too thin. He's made this series of films now. It was only intentionally meant to be one, and for some reason he spewed it out to 3 films. Sorry, I'm itching my nose. And it's that movie called Cloverfield. The first one was interesting because nobody knew what the F was going on. The second one, called 10 Cloverfield Lane, I think, was actually really good. I think it was John Goodman. I couldn't remember his name, but I think it's John Goodman played in that. Now, don't quote me on it. The movie, the actor who played the main character was this guy who was like basically felt that the world was coming to an end, so he would like kidnap people and put them in this bunker that he made underneath the ground, like these 1950 bunkers, something like that. And he does like a really good job because he can play, if I got the name correctly, I apologize if I don't, he also played in Red State as well, if I remember correctly. And he's played in some other like independent type films. Kevin Smith would be one of them, but some other ones. And he's just a crazed character. He plays these crazy characters who are just completely nuts, and he does a really good job in that second Cloverfield movie, which was related. Then they made a third Cloverfield film, which was just plain bad. It was so bad they just gave it to Netflix. So a lot of us do have Netflix. I watched it because I saw it like listed, I think on an advertisement. Oh, Cloverfield, the third movie, is coming out on Netflix. It's going to be available on this date. So I got it the day after it came out because I didn't even know they made a third movie. And it was horrible. It was the worst piece of crap I've ever seen. I'm not even kidding. In my opinion, of course, I can't say that everybody else saw it the same way, but it was horrible. So then I've been going back and forth about Overlord because, again, it is, believe it or not, now that I had seen the movie, it is a complete ripoff. But they didn't use the name. They just used the way the stencils are on the letters for Overlord. That were the same stencils they used for Castle Wolfenstein in the remake of the game. So how much can't you cheat, copy somebody else's copyrighted material? Well, they did. The only difference is Wolfenstein was a game. I apologize. Wolfenstein was a game, and Overlord is a movie. Did I say that correctly? I hope I did. So, to say the least, the movie was very entertaining because I went in there just expecting this movie to be the worst thing in the face of the planet. Now, the thing that got me mad, the movie cost, I believe, $50 million to make it. It was pretty expensive. $50 million to make. So, opening weekend, it only made $10 or $20 million. So, it was a flop from the get-go. The movie was a total flop, but the reviews were pretty good. And when I saw it, it's like, okay, I have to agree with the reviewers that it's not like the best thing since sliced bread, but if you like a film that's science fiction, horror, and it's all about the Nazis, and you do like Wolfenstein, the game, Castle Wolfenstein, go see it because it's excellent in that perspective. But it's not very original otherwise. But how many people, minus a lot of geeks nowadays, really played even the remake or the original Castle Wolfenstein? Most of those people are my age or a little bit younger, but not by much. Okay, maybe at least, I'll be generous, at least 15 years younger than me. Anybody from that age up to what I am, 51, would appreciate the movie because they know where it's going. But I went and seen, I figured, you know what? Who's going to want to see I called it Castle Wolfenstein. Overlord because the movie has not made much money, and it's been shown in a lot of theaters. So when you narrow it down to movie theater to movie theater, it should be empty. Well, guess what? There was a small crowd in a movie that made no money, and I was joking with friends, and I said I think it made most of its money this just tonight. I went to the 4:00 show, not the matinee. I missed the matinee because I didn't get ready until like 3:00. So if I was actually I was ready to go out the door at 2:30, and it was like, okay, it starts at 2:30. I'm not going to make it. That would have been like $5 cheaper to go see that damn film. So, I was already in a crabby mood. So I look, and I went to this movie theater over King of Prussia where you pick your own seats. And now they're kind of getting heads. I mean, people are realizing those recliner seats are just a real waste of money. I am so uncomfortable in those chairs. I mean, I get neck pains because I'm a short guy. You can see because I'm on film or video right now. But I'm a smaller guy, so the headrest is way too far above my head, and I try to lean up like, I'll show you on the camera. I try to go up like this, and I can't hit the headrest. See, I'm doing it right now on my thing. So watch this on YouTube. Now, you've seen how my head just like tapped. See that right there? Where on those ones, there's recliner in the movie theaters, I can't get up that high. And this is a high back chair I have right here. So the problem with that is my neck is below that headrest thing, and my neck gets a really sharp pain. Then my back is uncomfortable. Those seats are just horrible. They look really fancy. They charge you a lot more money for those damn seats. And they are the worst. I'd rather have the good old-fashioned stadium seats you get in regular movie theaters. And I'm starting to I think other people are too, because King of Prussia, by the way, they put the good old-fashioned, what do you call it, the arena seats in one theater. It's got a really big screen, too, a really, really big screen. It's a really good show. But they put the old seats in. They're more modern. They're not outdated, but they're not those stupid recliner seats. I can't stand those damn things. So I was really happy about that. But the problem is they're starting to do that even in a regular theater without the reclining seats. That King of Prussia at least does this. The theater is beautiful. That particular one, everything in there is state of the art. It's beautiful. And that's a big theater, but that screen looks like bigger than what I used to see when I was a kid almost. Not quite that size, but it's definitely close. Like, let me put it this way. If you go to the Colonial Theater, the screen on that one screen in King of Prussia is much larger than the one at the Colonial Theater. And the seats are much more comfortable. But they're not those stupid lazy boy chairs. I hate those. So anyway, I'm in there, and it was like, okay, I picked a seat. There was only 5 people who bought tickets for that damn movie. And I was like, well, that's a little bit more than I expected because the movie's not making any money. It's lost like $30 million already and something like that. $40 million probably for what it cost to make. So the movie's a flop. And I figured, well, this would be like guaranteed not one seat would be sold. I go in, and a young couple had ordered seats right across from me. I mean, like actually right across from me. The whole theater is freaking empty. Why do you have to buy 2 seats right next to me? So that's like my pet peeve. And then I had a row of a young couple, a bunch of young people who bought seats only in the aisle I was in. The whole fucking excuse me about that. The whole theater is empty. You got to buy your tickets just for that freaking row when the whole theater is humongous, that particular screen, and there's all these seats. You got to sit right in my row. I mean, I hate to be a jerk. And then I had a bunch of young guys who bought all the seats behind me too. It's like, what is this? Are you that insecure? You got to buy a seat next to somebody else? Because you can see which seats were taken, which ones weren't. That's the point. It's not like you walked in there and you just pick whatever seat's empty. No, you have to pick an assigned seat. Why do you have to pick one next to me? Like at my new job, people laugh at me because I don't like people next to me. I need my beyond my personal space. So the management laughs at me on second shift. I work a second shift job right now. And I park my car so far out, I might as well just walk from my driveway to the job because it's just so ridiculously far. So they laugh at me and they ask me, these managers, they say, why do you park so far out from the building? And I said, because I don't want anybody parking next to me. And I said, I'm just very OCD about that. I don't like people because I've had it happen more than once where you can park in the middle of a field and you have somebody park right next to you. And they don't park just a little close. And what they do is they have to freaking back their car in next to your driver's side and then park over the line that you can't even open your freaking door. I'm trying to watch my language. I already lost it once. And it happens not once, not twice, but every freaking time. It pisses me off to no end, people. So I go to the movie tonight. I do the same thing at the movie theater. Everybody has to park right next to the front door of the King of Prussia Mall Regal Cinema. I park way in the back of the building on the side next to an island, meaning that there's like a little piece of patch of grass and crap. Do you know somebody in an Audi had to back their car in right on top of my car, like I just mentioned? It's like, why do people do this crap? Why do you have to do this shit? I'm sorry, I can't hold back anymore. It makes no sense to me. Generally, when you park far away from everybody, there is a reason for that, because you don't want anybody to park next to you. I will walk the extra mile, literally the extra mile, just to get to exercise as well. Because trust me, I definitely do need exercise. Look at this. Look at that. So, honey, does this make me look fat? Yes. I'm sorry, that's just my pet peeve. I just spend 32 minutes talking about nonsense. Well, everything's about nonsense with me. Never even got towards anything that I wanted to talk about. Even Trump will tell you that. Or he won't, because oh, wait, I found it. I found it! Wow, maybe the battery is going dead. He just talked. It's somewhere. Did you hear that, folks? Probably not. And I'm not trying to fill up Trump. Trust me. I'm not a pervert. Oh, sorry. For those people at home, I gave them a little bit of entertainment. Yeah, I think the battery is actually going on the poor guy. Batteries are low. I got this Bluetooth thing that you have to plug in to charge the rechargeable battery. And it does do that. Like I'll be listening to some talk shows on streaming audio. They're all conservative radio shows that I listen to. They're really good. And when the battery gets low, it goes, battery is low. It's kind of funny to me, not anybody else. So I got to decide what I got to do. One thing I was going to say, this new job I have does not pay farly as much money as I'm used to making. So all the bills roll in at the same time. It's the end of the year, so all my bills roll in at the same time. So I got myself quickly into debt. I mean, yeah, I did buy some stupid toys. They were expensive, but nothing that would make my bill as high as it was. Like the Nintendo Switch and some camera, the camcorder. I had this other camcorder. The quality wasn't as good as the one I have. A webcam. It's over here. You see my hand? I'm waving at you. Now I'm trying to look at you and wave at you. So on my webcam. So anyway, the webcam was like $200. So, but then the car insurance was due. My phone bill was being put on the credit card a couple times. A couple other bills started rolling in. I'll pay them on the credit card. So then I turn around. Then my credit card bill, it was two different credit card bills. Sears and my Best Buy card, because my Best Buy credit card's a Visa. So I try to gain points on that. I used to use the Amazon one. That was beautiful because I was really racking in the points where I got free money. And I use it because I'm buying all my stuff I use at home. I don't like going to stores anymore, so I'll just buy I'm not even joking. I'll buy a damn toothbrush and get it sent to the house because I don't want to leave the house anymore with all the nonsense going on outside. So, so I racked up the points. But yeah, my bill was like $1,752, something like that. Or probably a little higher up. It was close to, but not quite close to $1,800. So it's like, okay, I hate to do this. I just borrowed a bunch of money from my 401k. So I had taken out just a little bit more, but I had borrowed money from my 401k of $1,800 because I figured that money I'll pay back in 6 months. I don't care how I'm going to do it. I'm going to pay that money back, but I'm not going to pay 27, 21, 26% interest on these freaking credit cards when I can just borrow money from myself and I'll pay myself back the money and I'll pay back the interest to this guy. I'm pointing at the I think I'm looking at the camera. I can't tell. Meaning me. I'm giving back the interest to myself. And my interest that I'm paying back to myself, because I'm not making any money on any of my stocks in the 401k, is going to be not bad. It'll be paying back myself 6% interest. Unfortunately, it's only going to be like $30-some, but I don't care. I'll take it. But it's only 6%. So it's a lot better than I'm going to get on these credit cards where I'm paying in 20-some percent in interest. I mean, that's just ridiculous. I'm not going to do that. So, because things are looking a little bit hard for me. This year, Christmas is not going to happen with me. It's going to be a day off from work. Actually, I think at our new job, I'm sorry, I'm playing with my doll, my Trump doll, not myself. I'm playing with my Trump doll. So, yeah, that was the highlight of last night. And I'm telling you, I'm really tired, folks. At this new job, you work. You really you bust your hump. You bust your ass. And these people work for their money. And I mean, I'm not joking. They work for their money. I work hard for my money. I can't even think of the words to that. Is that Donna Summers? So anyway, okay, I've already wasted almost 40 minutes about nothing. I really got to put that back on my segments. When I first made my, professional, whatever you want to call it, even though it's not professional, it's more amateur. But I had some professional make me a theme for my iWalter podcast, was this woman. And that's where I came up with the slogan for my show, because she misunderstood what I wrote. And she said on this segment, if you look back on my podcast on Spreaker, Spreaker.com, iWalter, you will see it, or listen to it, I should say. And she says, you are now listening to the iWalter show, real talk about nothing. And it was like, well, that kind of doesn't make any sense, but I do like it because it is real. I'm really talking a lot, but I'm not really saying anything at all. So it's kind of cool. Sorry, I keep on having to play with my shirt because I feel like I'm like a fat dude. I don't think I'm that fat. I don't think I'm fat at all. I think I'm in good shape. Nah. So anyway, a couple things. Like, my friend had sent me something, 2 things from YouTube. Actually, and I found a couple things on YouTube too. Ooh, actually, folks, I did want to play, and I will play this, and then I have to at this point, and make a thing. But it was something. Oh wow! And I turned off my speaker. So let me turn this back on my speaker, because you need to hear this. It was yesterday on Rush Limbaugh. Now, I'm not playing that next, but I will play it soon from Rush Limbaugh. It was guy from Canada, Mark Stein, covered for Rush Limbaugh yesterday. Rush Limbaugh was out of not doing the radio show yesterday. He was on vacation or something. So a guy called in from Montgomery County, and it was really good. Like, there was a caller before this guy from Montgomery County, PA. I live in Montgomery County, And what he had to say was really interesting. I'll wait till then to turn on the speaker, and I'll let people listen to it the best they can. So anyway, but that's not what my friend Matt sent me. He sent me something from a guy. It's called The Dave Cullen Show. He's a British dude. And he has this thing on YouTube, and he was talking about how the new Doctor Who is just basically, in so many words or less, he thinks it's really bad. I don't think so. I love Jodie Whittaker. I've said that before. I think she's doing a really good job. She's much better than a lot of these other actors in the new series, minus Christopher Eccleston, which I really liked. She's really damn good. But they are adding a lot of political comments, slurs, bashing males, white males especially, the whole 9 yards. It's awful. I don't think Jodie Whittaker, her character, doesn't do it. She is the Doctor Who now. But a lot of the other characters do make a lot of bash and backlash on white males. And it's just it's really out of hand sometimes. So this one guy, Dave Cullen, had this video that my friend Matt sent me, and it seems like a lot of people do agree with him, which I'm glad to see. But he did title it, it's not a but, The Vandalization of Doctor Who. Is really cool. And I looked for this one part that I was actually, myself, I was very shocked by it. He, puts like captions in different segments from different sources of news in the background. Is that the foreground or the background? What it's in the background, whatever. Maybe it is the foreground. And the one part I made sure to pull up on my screen says, outrage as BBC World Service internship scheme only open to people who aren't white. So basically, yeah, and I had to look that up. Yeah, the BBC will not hire anybody that is white any longer. So if you're a white person, you're going to get rejected. They're not going to hire you. And it goes one step further because I looked for that. Apparently, especially, BBC will not hire white males. So way to go. So their way of being politically correct is by being discriminatory in other ways. So that's not cool at all. So, yeah, speaking of which, not on racism or anything like that, one person I really, really like, I respect her, she is, because I have her right in front of me, is Michelle Markle. I think that's how you say her last name, Michelle Markle. She is Filipino. She is great. She's ultra-conservative, so that's a plus in my book. But she's on this thing called CRTV with a couple other people. And I just am marking some other stuff she's on. So Michelle Markle is really got stuff that just knocks, kicks the left in the teeth. And I love every time she does it. So Angela Markle, I keep on saying Angela Markle. I don't know why I do that, but Michelle Markle, you're never going to be disappointed in anything she puts up. So the latest one she had placed up on Facebook. Did I tell you that she does her stuff on Facebook? She does these, every day a commentary video. Very attractive woman. Nothing to do with it. But she put one up. It's titled "Honoring Christine Blasey Ford." Ford's Lion Leach's lawyers. So I try to tell my one friend Matt. You're going to hear this, Matt, and then I'll hear about it myself from you. That I feel that Christine Blasey Ford was, she was completely lying about the whole rape thing against Kavanaugh. That was like one of the shows I did, by the way. I got like 400 hits on that show, almost. So I think the whole thing was a scam. I don't believe any of it. And, if she got raped, it was definitely not by Kavanaugh. And, my friend Matt, you kind of felt like, well, I didn't say that she wasn't raped by him. And, dude, maybe she was raped, but she definitely wasn't raped by him. She's just like a wacky person you can't take seriously. She seems really, and she's like a professor and a psychiatrist. This Blasey Ford. I don't know how she got that position, but she sounds like a 10-year-old when she talks. Her voice is very annoying. So anyway, I watched it. Yeah, and it's funny because Michelle puts down, and she puts, like, she does a much better job than I'll ever do, but she writes like exactly what she's gonna talk about when she does the video. So she put down, the Pink Hat Brigade has no shame. They can't wait to honor the hit team that tried, sorry for about speaking so loud in the mic, team that tried to take down Justice Kavanaugh. But these people have no business practice in law. So she like rips Christine Blasey Ford a new one, and in an excellent way that I would never be able to do. So I just wanted to say that. I'm already at like 46 minutes. So that wasn't the first one I picked up because I haven't listened to Michelle in quite a while. The one that like really knocked my socks off, though, and I'm not going to read everything because she goes down on at least, I would say, like 30 or 50 different types of ailments that we had conquered years ago, like syphilis, whooping cough, tuberculosis, HIV and AIDS hasn't been conquered, but it's definitely not heard about. Hepatitis, chicken pox, chlamydia, mumps, measles. There was one in here I was like really stuck out. I'm trying to look for that. These are all this stuff is coming back to our country because of the amount of illegals. That's another one I tried to argue with my friend Matt with, and I don't do a very good job. And she does a segment on that. These are very long segments. That's why I don't want to play them. The truth about illegal aliens and infectious diseases. And it's the reason why we're getting all this stuff back in this country is because they're coming in illegally. They're not getting checked for any type of possible ailments they could bring into our country. They're getting in here. These migrants, like that caravan, one got through already. There was one caravan that arrived on the border, and I believe they're sorting through these people. And I thought they said it was like 100,000 people. It's some ridiculous number, like 1,500 to 1,000 illegal immigrants cross our border every single day is what I heard. It was something very high. So anyway, yeah, one of these things is, leopard's disease. She actually put in here, leprosy has made a stance or a comeback in our country. When's the last time you ever heard of a case of leprosy? So, yeah, I mean, Michelle points this out. She posted this November 11th, so I don't even know what the date is today. It's the 17th. So that was like about a week ago, a little over a week ago, she posted. Again, you got to look. I might be getting her last name wrong because she's married. Michelle herself, she mentions it. She's, oh, God, how can I say this again? She is, I want to say Asian, but because I have a lot of people I know that I work with that are also, did I say not Korean? But you get the gist, I think. But yeah, and she's a very, very smart lady, and she's even mentioned before, you talk about racism, and there's racism on people of different color, and she says, she actually said this, I have yellow skin, I guess most of your Asians are affiliated with, I don't understand, they don't look yellow to me, but they call it yellow skin. She says, I get, but I have, she, no puns intended, she has a thick skin against that stuff. She's a very smart woman. And I said it earlier, I'm not going to say it again what her nationality is. Her husband, I think, is like Russian or something like that. He's an immigrant, too. But she's American. He's American. But their ancestors are from other countries. That's what I'm trying to say. But they don't make a big deal out of it like it is around here. that, oh, you got to let all these migrants in this country. You got to let this person. You got to let that person. Well, all they've done for us so far is nothing besides taking money out of our wallets and just basically, now bringing the best thing they can contribute is diseases that we've conquered years ago. They're bringing them back. So thank you so much for that. Illegal immigrants, migrants. I really appreciate that. I'm looking for this one. It was in Jersey. Let's see if I can find it now. That is kind of like really close to why I mentioned in the thing. You can see the flicker in the background. So, okay, this was CBS. I actually pulled up the other day when we had that bad snowstorm. I pulled up about, what do you call it? That snowstorm. We had a really bad snowstorm the other day, this week, Wednesday, whatever. It's now Saturday. So, what I did find, it said in Jersey, 11th patient dies, these are children, dies amid viral outbreak at New Jersey care facility. It's a children's facility, and the kids are dying left and right. So, let all the migrants in, let all the illegals in. Just let them walk right over the border because they are entitled to come to this country. Well, most of them do settle Florida, Jersey, New York, Philadelphia, because they welcome, now I don't, but they welcome these illegal immigrants with open arms. And look what, what's happening. I said this, and I believe this in my mind, that reason we're having these issues is because you're letting people in the country who are not being vaccinated against anything. You don't know what they're carrying with them. And it's more than just weapons. They're carrying probably some really serious sicknesses that we've conquered. We're not immune against them any longer like we used to be because we didn't have to worry about this stuff. So keep an open mind about that. Don't be so closed-minded, folks, when you think that you're doing the right thing by letting a bunch of illegal immigrants into this country. Oh, they're not illegal immigrants. They're people. They're, what do you call it? They've been misplaced. They need our help. Well, you need to help. My father always used to say this. He still does. Charity begins at home, meaning that you help the folks at home first. You don't help other people unless you can, you help each other within our country, not our neighbors. You help us. Meaning you keep the other ones out. There's an analogy today on some show I was listening to. It's like a guy saying, these rich people should do this. How many times, he said, do you leave your front door open and just tell strangers, come right in the house, help yourself to the refrigerator, help yourself, just make yourself at home. You don't. You have a lock on your door. You have a lock on all your doors in your house and your windows. So the bottom line, what he was trying to say is, why don't you open all this stuff? Let all these let perfect strangers in your house and see how far that goes. It's not going to go very far. Trust me. Oh my God, it just gets me so pissed off. Anyway, that one article, it's titled, it says CBS News, but I actually got it off of KYW's website. It's like, wow, this is really serious now. This one sentence says the department says that the children, the one child was among 34 pediatric cases. And most of these kids, it's an outbreak on these, whatever it is, a viral outbreak in Jersey. So, just turn the blind eye to this. Let all these freaking kids die for all I care. I don't think that way. I'm just saying it. It just drives me nuts how people are so stupid. Let everybody in our country. Who cares if they are dangerous or whatever? We don't care because we feel good about ourselves by letting total strangers into our country. I don't welcome it, but apparently these liberals and these millennials do. Not all of them, because I know some really good people that are younger people that are only. I have a friend who's in his early 20s, mid-20s, and he does not think that way. He's a lot smarter than that. And I'm not just saying that. He's very smart. So anyway, I was trying to look for something about these caravans. One I looked at was from The Hill, because I always hear Rush Limbaugh talk about thehill.com. And it says, Trump, migrant caravan is an invasion, which it really is. It was on the, it says 10/29. That was like last month then, right? Yeah, it was last month, end of last month. But it is. The caravans coming in our country, look at it for what it really is. You're allowing people to, they're not stopping. They're going right through Mexico, not stopping, and they're building up steam power because they're getting help by Mexico and who knows who else, and just letting these people trample into our country, and they're not going to stop. And they're coming here because they say, and there was one, I saw some video on YouTube, this one woman on the caravan had like 4 kids, and she was a single mother from, I forget where it said, but not Mexico, from where these people originated from. One individual had like 4 kids. Wow, that's great. And there's hundreds of thousands of these people that are coming, that are coming to our country. And what are they coming here for? Because they expect us to give them stuff that we can't afford to give them. We can't even afford to take care of American citizens in this country. I mean, I was like out of a job for a little bit, and I had to fight tooth and nail just to get a couple dollars off the freaking government until I get myself back on my feet. And yet, they won't give crap to me, but they'll give it to somebody who walks over a borderline. They give them an open, welcome invitation to everything, and even accommodations. Are you serious? I mean, are people really that dumb? I don't know. I guess they are. So anyway, my friend Matt, he also sent me, again, these are really long. I didn't even get to the point yet, but I do want to put that thing on about the person who called in to Rush, which was not him, was Mark Stein. It was on the show. But the guy from my area who called in and got through on the Rush lines, the Rush Limbaugh line. So kind of speeding things up, my friend Matt sent me something from this guy. Let me see if I can. Oh, yeah, Tim Cast. And he has something, and it was interesting. Oh, wait, this is one I found after Matt sent me something from Tim Cast. He sends me a lot of stuff from this guy. He does podcasts also every day. He's got a lot of viewers. I don't have even 1% of what he has. I have like less than 1%. So anyway, the one I found from Tim is this one that says, study, women are more likely to be more abusive than men. And his statistics were like for every 13 women who abuse males, it's like 5 men do the same thing. So the scales aren't exactly of what you hear on the news and media, is not as accurate as what is really happening. So bottom line is there is almost double the amount of women who abuse men than there are of men abusing women. One of the reasons it's not talked about much or seen on the news is because, quote unquote, even though women want to be treated as equals, when it comes to presenting the facts about the news, it's always going to come down to, well, women are more the weaker sex than the man. So that's not a number one reason. Number two reason is because, men are just be laughed at, plain and simple. A man will be laughed off if he says, I've been, beaten or abused by my spouse, my girlfriend. Nobody wants to hear that. But yet, there was somewhere in this segment, I do believe he did say, is like for every 13 women who abuse men, it's like 5 men to 13 women on statistics. It was something like that. So this again, the statistics, are much higher that there is more women abusing men than there are men abusing women. But again, it trickles down to women are the weaker sex. I'm not saying that, but that's the reason they don't make a big deal out of it. And in fact, if a woman is in a domestic dispute, if she's, broken a law, 9 times out of 10, every article I read, probably even higher than that, if it's possible, for the same crime that a man will do, a woman gets a slap on the wrist. Man rapes a child, a teenager under the age of 18, which is illegal in this country. A man has sex with a 17-year-old. He gets fined a couple $100,000, almost close to more like close to $250,000. He gets put in jail. He gets reprimanded. His life is ruined. A woman does the same thing. Her bail is set at, every time I've read them, $10,000, a slap on the wrist. Worst case scenario, she might get under house arrest. And there was one case, actually, on top of that, the woman had sex with multiple underage kids, and she was able to keep her, her teacher's license or whatever you call it. So, yeah, that's what I call, folks, a double standard. Well, it's obvious, but, who wants to hear that? So, anyway, it's after an hour. So, this is going to be kind of longer. I didn't know. So, my friend Matt also sent me from Tim Cast that Tim Cast did one on my show, my favorite show, Doctor Who, and he was discussing, he titled it, Social Justice PC Stories Are Killing Doctor Who. Well, actually, he said that social justice PC stories are killing Doctor Who. So I have to say it, because you can't see it even on the video, that it was more of a question. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I'll say yes, it is. Now, the problem is, though, also is Doctor Who has always been a bit political, because like Tim Cass, I don't know, maybe he hasn't watched Doctor Who quite as long as I have, because I've watched it since I was 12, so that's almost like 40-some years, or about close to 40 years. Close to 40 years. Let me rephrase that. And I remember I told my friend Matt that Doctor Who, back with John Pertwee, the one guy who was a producer or director, pretty much almost every episode was political. And these people were not hiding the fact that they were like liberals. They were against a lot of things that would be considered conservatism. They were very much against it. There was one I mentioned to my friend Matt. Watch it if you haven't. It's called The Green Death. And that one was extremely political. And it was for the, these leftist people who just have to protest everything. Not that the episode had that in there, but in so many words or less, yeah, it kind of did. So, so the bottom line is, Doctor Who, I mean, it's England. You kind of almost got to expect that. And if you think differently, then you have something you missed out on watching Doctor Who. The only thing is, they've became more upfront about their socialist views. But that's always been there. It hasn't, Doctor Who, because he actually said, well, Doctor Who years ago wasn't, was more of a science fiction show with, the dialects and things like that. Yes, but there was more to it. You haven't seen the whole picture unless you understand the Doctor Who. I was too young when I first started watching Doctor Who to understand the little political digs that were put in, probably even during Tom Baker's. If you look at them, look at Genesis of the Dialects. There was a political statement there. There was a lot of episodes over the years on Doctor Who that were all about politics. And it was, the one that was the most in your face was actually John Pertwee, though. I hate to tell you. I mean, if you missed out on that, didn't you? I really feel sorry for you, because that's the way it's been. So I'm kind of used to it. The political slant that they put on there now that does bother a lot of people is just making men making men out to be, especially white males. I hate to say this, but they make white males out like everybody else in the media does nowadays. They're making white males out to be, these sexual perverts that just want to rape women all the time, and they don't want to lose, in this country, they don't want to lose their guns or their power. Which to me is a bunch of nonsense. Because I think, again, speaking for our country, not for England's, over the years, there's been many shows that had women in power, at least on these programs. If you're talking science fiction, you got Wonder Woman, you got Supergirl, you got Buffy the Vampire Slayer, you had a show called Dollhouse, and you had Roseanne. I know a lot of people don't like that. You had the Nanny show. I'm trying to think. I could go on probably. Oh, Mary Tyler Moore. She was a powerful woman that was, in the news, on TV show, Laverne and Shirley. The bottom line is these were actresses who were the main part of the show. And in recent years, again, probably the last 10 or 15 years, 20 years, you did have, again, I'll revamp that, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But when a lot of the adults now, when they were kids that were women, they were much into Wonder Woman. There was some young lady that her mom, I used to talk to her. She said her mom used to tell me this, though. She said, oh, yeah, I grew up with Wonder Woman. So where's this thing where women are being repressed? I don't see it. What was Wonder Woman about? She was stronger than any man, and she beat the crap out of him. But she kept her femininity, is that the right word? Her feminine side on top of it. So don't give me this nonsense that women are have been repressed. That is total. Okay, I'll just put this thing on there. It's total bullshit. That's not true at all. Well, you don't see that women get less money than men. Well, I hate to tell you, in recent years, women make almost double the amount of money as men do. In almost every given situation, there is more women getting jobs and upper management jobs and more professional jobs that are surpassing men because we have to be politically correct. And this is something that hasn't just recently started. So, again, it's total nonsense when I hear this stuff that women are repressed. Really? Where's that? So, anyway, I'm going to glance through these stories because this is well over an hour. I actually pulled this up just the last second. This was on my Facebook page. I started watching it. Some guy what is his name? Looks like Vito. He said something about the new Star Wars movies, how horrible they are, and he was talking about all the failures. Well, part of the reasons why these new Star Wars are failing, one, they don't have Lucas involved. And Lucas made some bad Star Wars movies after the first three. And I mean the first three. One that was originally called just Star Wars. The one that was called Empire Strikes Back, and the last one called Return of the Jedi. Not the ones that are the prequels. I mean, the original three. And there were some films that I do like. I liked Solo. I thought that was really actually pretty damn good. I liked it a lot. Rogue One was an excellent film. Excuse me. But those new Disney Star Wars movies that were supposed to be, let's see, I'm trying to count the order now. 4, 5, and 6 were now renamed the ones that originally played back in 78 or 1980. I can't remember. So then there was 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, and 6. So it's 7, 8, and then 9 are come out. Those are pretty bad. The first one was kind of not too bad on the new Star Wars movies that continue on the storyline. But that second one was just, this is what this guy's pointing out, was just plain horrible. And he's right. It was just bad. Now, again, I'm going to go back for a second. Star Wars, new ones aren't too good, and they just got plain horrible, yes. But then I saw the movie has nothing to do with Star Wars. It was a J.J. Abrams film, which, like I said, if you liked the ingredients, because I spend a half an hour, I don't need to go into all that detail again. A person who likes the video game called Wolfenstein, you like that kind of, those type of games, go see the movie of Overlord, because it's definitely worth watching. Unfortunately, though, it's kind of violent, too. Oh, okay. On the victimized women stories, though, here's one from the Daily Mail. Friend Todd sent this to me. Married female music teacher, 34, had drunken sex with two 17-year-old boys. And then let me go back. Married female, drunken sex with two 17-year-old boys in her choir after taking them home and plying them. It says plying them with alcohol. It says Lori Softly. God, I don't know. That's a pretty funny name. But her name is, Laura Softly, 34, slept with the first boy in 2008 after taking him for drinks. Miss Softly made a similar move on another boy in 2012. A hearing will be heard. She was fired by the school she worked at. It looks like, almost looked like Ecclesbourne School in Duffield, Berkshire this year. What is this, England then, I guess? But the bottom line is, and she's got like some type of shot, a picture, not a mug shot, and she's got a smile on her face. Yeah, you're sleeping with all these underage kids. Now, it says she got fired, but how far did that go? Yeah, it looks like it's got to be in England, is my guess. But you know what? That's okay, because she, has been repressed for so many years. She's entitled to do whatever she wants to do. But if a man does the same thing, that's not going to happen. The guy's going to get his balls chopped off. I'm sorry. Hey, here's something on a lighter, and I'm just going to put this in now, because I really want to go. I've been wanting to do this every year for the last couple of years, once I've heard about it. But they have this burning of the Phoenix every year. It's takes place at different times, but it's usually at the end of the year. It's actually in Phoenixville, and it's called the Phoenixville Firebird Festival. I've really wanted to go every year, and I just keep on forgetting about it. I just can't do it. So this year, it's on December 8th, and somebody had posted it on Facebook, so that's the only reason I knew about it. It says it's the 15th year they've done this, so it hasn't been around for quite that long either. But yeah, they actually do burn a wooden phoenix. It's a big deal. It's a festival they do every year in Phoenixville, which is also where the Colonial Theater is, which was in the movie The Blob. So it's kind of cool. I would like to go, but I don't know if I'm working or not either. It says, it's on a Saturday, so I will have off. Depends how cold it is then. But it's at 4 p.m. till 11 p.m. So it's an all-night event, practically. Wow, he looked really bad. It's unfortunately, I don't know if you folks know about Roy Clark. He was on this show years ago called Hee Haw. Really good-looking guy back then when he was on Hee Haw, because that was decades ago. So Roy Clark just had recently died probably a couple of days ago, and he died at age 85. Yeah, I remember when I was a kid, because my parents, we're Italian, but my parents love country music, both of them. So, and Hee Haw was one of those shows I guess everybody did watch. That was more of a mainstream show. So, but yeah, Roy Clark, he died just this past week. It's kind of a shame. Stan Lee died, too. And that was a big one as well, obviously, because he made all those. He was responsible for a lot of superhero comic books and movies. Well, he didn't make the movies, but the characters are based upon his. So, trying to think. I do want to play that story still. That was my main thing for tonight. And I haven't even got to it yet. Let me see. Let me see what I'm going to talk about because it's like an hour and 15 minutes. Yeah, this is another thing. A guy at my job said it's like increased by, I think, 60% of the amount of people of hit and run car accidents. And especially, I thought he said in Pennsylvania, it's up 60%. So I saw this one like 2 days ago that was posted on KYW. And it says Philadelphia police find one car wanted in a deadly hit and run. And it was at, it says Montgomery County. So, yeah. Because, it was in Philadelphia. Police have found one of the two vehicles wanted in a deadly hit and run. It looks like Talmoni or Talcamy. It looks like it's not Talcamy, but I mean, you know. So it says the hit and run happened Friday shortly before 8:30 p.m. at Cotman and Torresdale Avenue. On Wednesday night in Montgomery County, authorities recovered a white Toyota Camry matching the description of the car that they were looking for. But there's another one still missing. So, yeah, it's gotten really bad around here because these people... Really, a lot of them don't drive. They don't have life because there was a guy at work. He said he got hit twice, really hurt badly. Like he had broken bones and stuff, and he was really pissed. But this one particular guy, both times, he got hit by unregistered. They didn't have a license to drive, and they were driving. They were women both times. And they almost killed him, 2 different incidents. And either one or both were also illegal immigrants on top of it. So he couldn't do anything about it because they don't have any money. They're not supposed to be in this country. And it happened to him usually they say, hey, well, lightning doesn't strike in the same place twice, which if you use that as a phrase, it means like, the same thing can't happen to you 2 times in a row. Well, this guy, it did. And he's paying the price for somebody else's stupidity. And they don't have license. They didn't have driver licenses. They were illegal immigrants both times because he's not originally from this state. He's from another state that was, by the sounds of what he sounds like, was definitely because I keep on forgetting where he came from originally. It seemed like more of a conservative state to begin with. So, certain areas, they don't do anything about having illegal immigrants, driving cars or anything. Well, we can't do much about that because these people are victims. They need to get around. They need to get to their jobs. We need to give them money. We need to give them housing. We should pay for all this stuff, really. You know what's weird? At the bottom of this story, by the way, there's another story. I'm not going to open it up because I'm already an hour and change into doing this podcast. It says, New Jersey teen missing since Halloween found safe. Oh, okay. That one's actually good. A New Jersey teen who had been missing since Halloween has been found in Philadelphia on Tuesday night. Why he's in Philly from Jersey, depends what part of Jersey, I don't know. I will not open it up because I'll just be on for 3 hours by myself, talking to myself. So not a cool thing. And I really want to play that segment. I said I was, and I will. Now, here's a kiss of death for the show for people who watch Supergirl. Apparently, it is not the article I pulled up, but I did read this elsewhere. They're going to be changing that television program, Supergirl, from, I think it's on a weeknight to Sunday nights. Probably most likely around when Doctor Who is on. They put Doctor Who on 8 o'clock on Sunday nights because they figured, hey, if the ratings don't go that well, it's not going to kill us because that's like the lowest rated night on any television program. You put any show you either want to basically put to rest or that is not going to do that well on Sunday nights. Why? I don't know. Because there's football games on, isn't there? Or maybe football's on Monday nights. I don't know because I don't watch football. I don't watch sports, period. So anyway, yeah, they're going to change Supergirl onto Sunday nights. So it's going to compete against, because even though Doctor Who is a BBC show, BBC America shows it in the U.S. on the correct night. So at the same time. So it's going to be funny having a Doctor Who that's female duking it out against Supergirl. I think that's kind of funny. So anyway, somebody like this one guy, he puts up really good stories, and I saw this one that he put up on Facebook, and it's actually from Entertainment Weekly, which I do get that in the mail. I haven't read them lately. Because I got like a subscription for a year for like $10. Like, yeah, I'll take it, because once in a blue moon, out of 12 months, or well, Entertainment Weekly. So what is that? How many issues? You get it every week at your doorstep. I get mine like a week later. But Entertainment Weekly, you buy one magazine, like you found like a story that's on there because they had like stories, the new Doctor Who on the front of Entertainment Weekly. That one issue costs you like $10 or $20. So buy a whole year that it comes to your door 4 times a month. Out of 12 months, you get that many issues. There's 52 weeks. You get 52 magazines for $10. Well, let's weigh this out. One magazine for $20, 52 of them for $10. I think I'll take the $10. Even if I only read 1 or 2 during the course of the year, I'm making my money out of it. So anyway, Supergirl. They said they cast this one guy from 2.5 Men. It looks like John Cryer. I don't know who that is. I've never really watched the show long enough to know who these actors are. He's going to be playing Lex Luthor on Supergirl. So that'll be pretty interesting if the show lasts. So I still got to, I want to play this. By the way, some friend of mine, he put up a story that said bankrupt Sears wants to give executives $19 million in bonuses. Wow, I wish I would have read that before then. I didn't see that part. So, yeah, here Sears is like miserably failing, and I heard it might get worse for Sears. Because get this, Bloomingdale's, which is like, I'm going to go like this on the camera. I'm flicking my nose, is like for uppity people. Bloomingdale's is like really a ritzy store. It used to be. Well, Bloomingdale's now wants to get more competitive against Sears. So I read this somewhere, so I assume they're going to start carrying like lawnmowers, washers, dryers, things like that. That's like Sears' bread and butter, was selling, everyday things that people use. I mean, Sears was known for doing that for, I'm looking at Sears has been around since 1893. And they've always were more of a store you get everything you need, including stuff for the yard. And now Bloomingdale's wants to go that direction. It's gonna like hurt Sears. Sears has already been in the shitter, but it's gonna make it worse. So yeah, this one friend, it says CNN Business. Oh God, I can't believe I actually pulled the story up from there. But yeah, Sears has been doing really bad for quite a while, and it says bankrupt Sears wants to give its executives $19 million in bonuses. That I do believe. That's not cool. You should be putting that money back into the freaking company, not giving it out to executives. I don't care. I hear that nonsense. Well, they do, but do they work that hard? Like, well, they have it more stressful than everybody else. See, this is where the fine line goes between me being a person registered as a Republican and me being a little bit more of a conservative and less of a person who is, quote unquote, a Republican. Because there is a difference. My views, most of my views are conservative. Yes, I will not change my opinion on which party I want to pick. It will be Republican. Give or take, because somebody else did say this too on one of the shows I listened to. They did mention that the only time that the Democratic Party was probably, in my opinion, or in my words, not my opinion, was like looked at, because somebody actually said this on a talk show. I think it was today. Recaps of shows from The Blaze. It's a thing called The Blaze. It's an app you buy. You get it for your phone. It's free. They don't charge you for it. Or any of the programs you listen to. They're all free. That JFK, I've said this a million times, and it just falls on deaf ears, that John F. Kennedy was probably the only person who actually did what the Democrats say they stand for. He was the only one who really delivered on that. Thinking for the, being more of a people person. Most of the Democrats have never done that, but John F. Kennedy obviously did. More so than any of the other Democratic Party has done in the history of the Democrats. Now you look at it, that's what it seems like. Anyway, there was another story I had on from KYW. It was like, let's see, the 14th of November. Oh, you know what? For those who don't know, if you're like British, V for Vendetta, that movie V for Vendetta. The whole purpose of that movie had nothing to do with Rush Limbaugh or politics, how the U.S. politics are so corrupt. It had nothing to do with that, because what it had to do with was Parliament almost getting blown up by this guy named Guy Fawkes. So anyway, the 4th of November, I believe it's the 4th or 5th of November, was Guy Fawkes Day. That just passed. And that is basically, because I had spoken to this one British guy when I worked at this daycare center. This British guy would pick up his kids and his mom. Very lovely people. But the dad said, yeah, Guy Fawkes Day is basically our 4th of July, our Independence Day. They do the same thing we do on the 4th of July, but they do it on the 5th of November, where they have fireworks and things like that, because that was their Independence Day. It had nothing to do with just the nonsense that movie portrayed in it. V for Vendetta, though, was based upon a graphic novel where the guy is a British liberal type guy, dude, whatever. But the whole purpose was not about American policies, but more so in the graphic novel, comic book, was about the British, the problem the British have with their parliament and stuff. Not about the U.S. Not at all. Just letting you know. So anyway, there was this story. It was kind of interesting. Not very lovely, but it was interesting on KYW the other day. Over 40 dead dogs found inside plastic bags in freezers at the New Jersey woman's home, police had stated. So there was some story. This lady had 40 dogs shoved in bags. They were dead. I don't know how they became that way, because I'm not going to read this. Okay, it says that, it's one of these things like a train wreck. You have to look at it anyway. They said they discovered at this woman's house 161 living dogs and 44 dead dogs at the home of a 65-year-old Donna Roberts in Jersey. So there we go. That was easy enough, right? So let me see if I can get to this, because it's going to be well over an hour and a half already. But I've been wanting to do this, play this one story, make sure I don't have anything else. No, I don't. Thank God. So it's an hour and 28 minutes, so I know where to go. An hour and some change. I'm gonna play this cap from Rush. It is Rush Limbaugh's show, but it was what do you call it? Mark Stein. And it was really good. So again, you're going to listen to the first couple seconds. You're going to say, well, I don't hear anything, about this guy from Montgomery County. Yeah, because the caller, who was probably waiting on the line way too long, she got to wait for a long time on Rush's show to get through, had hanged up, and the next caller is this guy from Montgomery County. So I'm going to reach down under my desk. There's nobody under there. Trust me. So I'm not going to get any stained dress or anything like that. But I got to turn on my speaker so people can hear this at home. Okay. Well, I'm going to have to edit this now too. So let's see if this works. And let me turn up the volume. Okay, here we go. Hopefully nobody... if somebody texts me or calls me, it's going to come up on my computer, so hopefully they don't. Okay, I'm going to play it now. and let you know it's 6 minutes. 6 minutes and 5 seconds.
Lucille in Littleton, Colorado. Lucille, you're first up on the Rush Limbaugh show today. What's on your mind? Hi, Lucille. Are you there? No sign of Lucille. Let's go to Jim in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. Jim, you're first up today. How are you, Jim?
Sir. I'm doing well, thanks. There is a swamp in Pennsylvania, Mark, and it's just very alarming. I don't think that Trump could win PA if we continue down this path, and I'll tell you why. There are entrenched, established Democrat deal-making Republicans that are on the take here, and we're not losing to the Democrats. We're losing to our own people. We have a very big problem in places like Pennsylvania. I'm sure we're not the only ones, but particularly the Southeast. If anyone's listening out there, I'm sure they could feel the same way. I think the president needs to find people outside the establishment to put on the ground his own people, loyal to him, and not to any of his party bosses that can get the job done because they're in bed with the Democrats.
So you're saying, Jim, that in Pennsylvania, Republican Party officials are in fact opposed to the president and his agenda. Is that correct?
Well, it's a complicated web of very long-term deal-making with Democratic leaders, whether it's by virtue of what they owe, that they're on the payroll for the Democrats, different favors that need to happen or have been had. There is a very big problem in Pennsylvania, and the president's people need to come. I've been involved for over 20 years in the southeast region of PA, and they're completely in bed with the Democrat machinery, and they're making a lot of money, a lot of deals, and a lot of contracts. I would not trust any of the yes men that tell you that they have PA under control. The president needs his own forces in places like this, and I'm sure across the country where we have this machinery.
Well, thanks for your call, Jim. That's actually what happened, though, in 2016, and I think to a certain extent what happened in the midterms. Basically, the president functions as a kind of independent. He's a bit like like the fella who just stepped down in Maine, who was an independent governor, and you've got Democrats and Republicans in your legislature who don't particularly, neither of whom you get on with particularly. Essentially, that's the situation the president found himself in 2016 and again in 2018. And it's interesting to me that he chose to fight for the Senate, and he won the Senate. The House he left in the hands of Paul Ryan, who was invisible. I don't know where Paul Ryan was. I know people they were fans of Paul Ryan, but let's face it, the guy decided to quit, to hang it up a year ago, and he decides that he's going to have like a 2-year transition out of the speakership, which in effect he didn't need because the people had spoken and transitioned him out of it anyway, and so that was. We didn't need a lame duck speaker who had no agenda, wasn't running the election. If anyone has seen Paul Ryan in the last couple of months, I don't know where he is. Maybe he's counting votes in Broward County or something. I don't know what he's doing. But the president figured out that he couldn't rely on the Republican Party establishment, as it were. And he decided to find a workaround. And when it came to the Senate, the workaround worked. And you know, Jim, I understand your worries about Pennsylvania, and you might be right on that. But the thing is, Pennsylvania is one of those places. Like when he won it last time round, for as long as I can remember, people have been saying, oh, you know, this is going to be the year that Pennsylvania, we get it back in the Republican column. They said it about Bush in 2000, and it didn't happen. And yet Trump sensed that it was doable, and he managed to do it. And you're right. And I would say one of the lessons of what happened when is it now? 10 days ago. It's hard to remember because it's still going on in Florida. But one of the lessons is that for Republicans, you can win with Trump, but you can't win by sort of triangulating, as Martha McSally tried to do in Arizona, by sort of triangulating somewhere between Trump and never Trump and trying to operate in some amorphous space in between. He's the president. He's the president of your party. The idea that you can distance yourself from the party, from the president, distance yourself from conservatism, actually, which is what non-Senator McSally did, basically distanced herself from the broad conservative movement and distanced herself right out of a job. You can get on board, or you can be out of a job, as it happened for her. So we shall see how this goes. But there is. Don't write off Pennsylvania just yet, Jim, because there might yet be surprises on that front in 2020. Mark Stein for Rush. Lots more still to come.
You were listening.
See you all.
All right, so here you go. That's going to be the end of my show too, because it's an hour and 35 minutes. That's pretty long. So I was trying to light up the sign in the back there so people could see the Camp Crystal Lakeside. So where I moved it to. So I hope you liked it. I got my pillows in the back here. It's got that at a comic book convention a while back before she became Doctor Who. I saw it. I was like, yes, I got to get that. So it's my pillow for my back, and this other one I got at the same convention. It was over here at Oaks this summer. Speaking of which, Kevin Sorbo was actually on The Blaze today on an interview. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed what I did. Try to fit a little bit of everything in I could think of and just get it, out. So I would make a couple episodes because next week's going to be crazy for me. It's going to be a short week. It's only going to be 2 days. So before I have off for 4, so that'll be interesting. So everyone, and it's crazy because there's a lot of traffic today. People are, I guess the kids are off from school and college already for the week. So everyone, this is Walter from iWalter. Again, I hope you enjoyed my program. Have a good night, and I'll see what's going on. I don't know when I'll do my next show again, but if you listen in, thank you so much for doing so. It's Walter from iWalter, signing off for now.